I am here today to do a little bit of harvesting. I'm going to harvest some seeds, the Red Ripper black-eyed peas that we planted together a couple of months ago, and then I'm going to plant them again. So we're going to do a little bit of succession planting, which means we're going to plant more and more as the season goes on to extend our season. And this little guy here is my neighbor's kitty, Peaches, and he just came to visit today. So, hi, Peaches. All right, let's get to it. Okay, we're gonna find some of these black-eyed peas. They're already dried, and I'm gonna pick them. Remember, we planted 8 different varieties. It's gonna be a surprise which ones they are. I sometimes will just eat the green ones as green beans whenever you want. And look at this beautiful flower. I think bean flowers look like little orchids. Aren't they beautiful? So we've got these beautiful purple flowers on these, and you can eat the beans fresh, or you can wait till they're dried and take them for seeds for next year, or dried beans that can last all year long, probably a couple years. So I'm just gonna pick the dried ones today. And these are just gonna keep making more all season, but the more you pick them, the more they'll make because they're trying to reproduce. So they're gonna make more and more and more seeds. If you leave them on, they're less likely to make more. So the more you pick, the more you get. Isn't that amazing? Here's a different one. This one is white. Wow, it's really going crazy over here. I have been neglecting my garden. It's been raining so much. And so this is just a crazy pile of beans and sweet potatoes and also weeds. Because yes, the weeds are growing like crazy too. And I just can't keep up. It gets too hot and then I don't want to be outside. So, it could be worse. I see a lot of crazy vines growing like everywhere. I'm going to put these beans into this little bowl. Now you don't have to shell them right away. You can just harvest the peas and wait. But I was really excited to see what kind they were. I need to plant more black-eyed peas along the fence. I'm going to just plant them right now. If I was more patient, maybe I would soak them. These will be fine. So if you do want to soak them, just soak them overnight or for 6 hours or so. And then they're just a little bit further along and ready to germinate. But yeah, the dried ones work just as well. Just takes a little bit longer maybe after putting them in the ground. And if the conditions aren't right, they'll just kind of wait until they're ready. But right now, they would just start growing here in our area of Austin, Texas. Okay, I'm almost done. These I'm chopping up. More mulch, of course. Everything is mulch that is like an organic waste product. If I don't put it in a different kind of compost bin. All right. Okay, so dump that wherever you want. Mulch. Let's go back over to where the peas are, where I'm going to replace them with these Red Ripper black-eyed peas. So these kind of peas are your shelling peas, and if you eat them while they're young, they can be snap peas. But yeah, their season is over. It's too hot. They're not going to keep growing. These other black-eyed peas, again, if you don't know, they are not actually peas. They're in a different family. They're a bean. So they're named black-eyed peas for some reason, or southern peas, but they are not peas. I'm taking out the actual peas and replacing them with these beans called Red Ripper that grow amazing in the South during the summer when no other kinds of beans or peas really work. Maybe Chinese long beans, But otherwise, I haven't found many. I'm gonna finish taking these out. Any dried peas, I will go ahead and keep as seeds for when it's cool again. Could probably do them in the fall, but I usually plant them in the late winter for an early spring plant. Yeah, we're about to get into full summer soon. I mean, although it already has felt like summer here for a while, we haven't hit real summer yet. Real summer here is August. That's when it's just like survival. Right now, everything is growing. It's so happy. We have really good conditions for most of the annual vegetables, and they're starting to flower, like the tomatoes, the eggplants, things like that. So I'm trying not to pull all of these roots out because the roots aren't going to continue to grow. I want to just let the roots die and feed the soil if I can. So I'm just trying to snip or cut right at the soil level and leave the roots in the ground. So the least amount of soil disturbance is what I always try to do. It doesn't mean no soil disturbance. I mean, you saw me digging up potatoes, but like the least amount that is needed. We're weighing quite a bit on this little fence. And this is just a really cheap roll out 2-foot tall fence from Home Depot. I think I paid, I don't know, less than $50, maybe $25 for 50 feet. And that's all I needed. And it's not really installed. I just put it down with some of those like landscape staples that you just push into the ground, and it's totally removable. Nothing too fancy that you can't just do yourself in about 20 minutes. And I kind of bent it to be curvy along the way because I wanted a more natural look. So it's all curvy along, and then you can kind of tell where the path ends and where the plants are. And that helps keep people from trampling everything. Along this little fence, I just love planting vining crops, using it as a little trellis. You can see these black-eyed peas right here starting to grow up the trellis, and you can see where the peas were, the regular peas, that are almost gone now. Let's get the last couple ones over here. Got my Cobra head tool. This is available in the Epic Gardening store on epicgardening.com. And I will put a link in the description. If you put in Lynn's Garden at checkout, you can get 5% off anything you want, including this Cobra Head garden tool. You can use this for a lot. I love it for digging any kind of trench, and I'm going to use it to dig the smallest little trench because I'm growing actually a row, but I'm making like a squiggly line instead of a straight line to look more natural and go along this fence. But I want it to be about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. But I'm going to use this to make that tiny little trench that I need so that I can plant these really quickly without having to plant each seed individually. Just go along the fence. I need to move the mulch. Here's where my peas ended, and I can do these like every 2 inches. This is the landscape staple. It's a little rusty now, but I've had this up for a few years, and I got these landscape staples, took this fence, and then I just put it where I want and stick it in the ground. You can use your foot for a little bit of extra pressure, but it's that easy. Okay, so here I'm making my tiny little trench. Got my seeds that I just harvested. So these seeds are now adapted to our area. You know, they continue to be trained for this area. So instead of being seeds that come from some farm far away in a climate that is not like ours, if you collect your own seeds, you're training the seeds for your climate. So that's what I'd recommend that you do, is that you start buying some seeds that you want, and then the ones that you can, you save them so that you don't have to continue buying them every year, and start just growing your collection of your own seeds that you're adapting to your backyard. Dropping one every couple inches. I'm not being too precise because I have plenty of seeds, I just don't care that much. So many things, I would just rather be fast than perfect, because otherwise they won't get done. Then just move the soil back on top, water it in. Not with everything, but with beans, they're fine to cover up with mulch again, so you don't have to do it later. So that's it. Now I know I went all the way over to here to my Tulsi basil, and I'll continue to finish that whole area over there. I'm going to water that in, and that is it.